Okay, good evening. For those of you here, thank you for joining us this evening. And those of you who are joining us virtually, we appreciate you joining us virtually. So we are streaming this, so you don't feel like you need to take copious notes. We'll be sending out the video of this, and you'll be able to get all that information again. We really want to have you have this opportunity to look through this information, get to know people, and start thinking about some of those scary decisions of life after high school. So just to kind of do some quick introductions, my name is Jacob Holt. I'm the principal of Bret Harte High School. I'm extremely fortunate to be joined by a couple people tonight to be able to share this information. So we have Cheryl Godfrey, our counselor. You may have received several emails from her or not, but we're fortunate to have her. She's our academic counselor here, who is already beginning to meet with students to give them information about not just choosing courses for next year, but making decisions on how those courses can impact their future. We have the sheriff representatives here to talk about some the Explorer program and what we can, how we can connect you and your students to that and what that can mean for their future. We also have Ms. Phillips here, who probably doesn't need much of an introduction. She's an institution in herself. Ms. Phillips here to talk about our FFA and ag programs and some of the CTE programs we have available for our students to enrich their education. So again, thank you for being here. I'm going to quickly turn over to Ms. Godfrey, and she's going to take us through the rest of the evening.
Welcome. It's great to be here. So this is our agenda for today. It looks a bit lengthy, but I had to put all the 9th and 10th and 11th graders in all together. So I'm pretty quick with slides, so even though it seems like a lot, we'll get through it fairly quickly. We have a couple guest speakers. You've already heard about them, and we're also going to talk about graduation requirements. We're going to spend some time on college requirements and different kinds of colleges and what kinds of things that the students need to do now so that they're prepared to go to whichever kind of college they want to go to. We're going to talk a little bit about courses for next year. Some of the kids already know. We've had some conversations in some pond classes already. So some of the kids are probably already coming home and asking and telling you that we're about to sign up for courses for next year. And we'll talk a little bit about CTE Pathways and some other academic information, community college, and what that means for our school. We'll do a little bit about athletics and NCAA eligibility requirements. And then I have at the very end a thing that teaches you how to put the courses into Infinite Campus. Some of the kids have already seen it, and it's also listed on the website, so you'll know exactly what to push and how to get the courses in. And then how I communicate with you guys and events and activities. So I'm going to now welcome two corporals, right? You're both corporals? Yep. Yes. And they're going to tell you a little bit about the Explorer program.
Okay. Hi, my name is Nicole Riviera, and this is my partner, Lance Williams. We are with the Calaveras County Sheriff's Office. Our agency has a Explorer program. It's a really great program. I will admit the last couple years, due to COVID, it has kind of died down. We haven't been able to really have meetings. A lot of our Explorers have moved away or aged out. Our program is for Explorers or youth between the ages of 14 to 20 years old. Basically, we conduct meetings at the Sheriff's Office. We are going to start our meetings probably virtually until some of the COVID gets under control. Basically, we allow our Explorers to participate in community events such as the parades, the frog jump. Our Explorers come and work with us at the concerts at Ironstone in the summer. They're able to do ride-alongs with deputies and sit-ins with the dispatchers. Of course, this is all with parental consent. They are never put in harm's way. We also do, at our meetings, we talk about current events. Sometimes our meetings consist of some physical training. We also teach them different components of law enforcement and different variations of the sheriff's office And it's a really great opportunity if they're interested at all in a career in law enforcement. Any branch of it, whether it's dispatch, records, corrections, or deputy sheriff. If they're not, it's okay too, because it's still a good reference for a resume for other careers. Usually our explorers have a lot of fun participating in our programs. We also do community events. We buy gifts for kids at Christmas and deliver them to them. We do fundraiser events like car washes and things like that. There's no cost to the kids. Do you have anything else? Okay, so that's pretty much everything. We will be available outside at our table. We do have some flyers, and we're more than happy to answer any questions. And we can also be reached at the sheriff's office anytime. You can always ask to speak to an Explorer advisor, and we're more than happy to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. And now we're going to have Carrie come up. Ms. Phillips is going to talk about the agricultural pathways.
Thank you guys very much for having me here this evening. So one of the things that I'd like to introduce, and I know I only have 2 minutes, is making sure, what's that? Oh, I have one more slide? Oh, fantastic. Okay, so one of the things I like to introduce students to is we have wonderful CTE programs here at our high school. It is really fortunate that we actually are in a school district that values having a variety of CTE, career technical programs for our students to be able to take advantage of. And I think that that's something that's really special and unique about our school. And with that, I am the agriculture department chair. And we have a 3-course pathway that we offer in agriculture science. I think it's important to go back. The ultimate goal is to produce your child to be a productive citizen within our society so that they have a successful experience throughout their life. Agriculture employs the largest percentage of the United States population because we all use agriculture every single day of our life. So we, in the agriculture department, have actually tried to cater to all 3 different areas, 3 different completely separate areas to provide opportunities for students. We have 3 pathways, and they focus on the mission of agriculture education, which is premier leadership, personal growth, and career success in whatever career your child chooses. First, we have the agriculture science pathway, which went over a major overhaul 2 years ago so that we can provide lab credit science to your students that qualify for UC and CSU. We have an Ag Earth for our freshmen. Same as the Earth Science. In fact, we collaborate with the science department to make sure that we align our curriculum. We have an agriculture biology course for our freshmen. You don't have to have been in Ag Earth to go into Ag Biology. You just have to have passed an Earth Science class. You can then move into Agriculture Biology. As a junior, you can move into Agriculture Science 3, which is animal science, or I'm kind of calling it pet peeve, animal physiology. We have physiology on our campus. They do a wonderful job. This is a different viewpoint of doing animal physiology. You don't have to have ag biology to move into it. You just have to have passed biology. Then for students who have actually completed animal science, animal physiology, because that's a requirement, they can move into veterinary science their senior year. Ag biology, animal science, and vet science are all UC, CSU lab science approved on your college transcripts for those college-bound students. They're also recognized by our community colleges as well. Then you have something, we have a lot of gentlemen that really enjoy the agriculture shop and construction pathway. I am currently sitting as a superintendent for floral certification, so I have contact with Ag Shop certification, and we are working with industry to get certifications to our young men and ladies in the Ag Shop classes. So they come in, they get metalworking, woodworking, and they get to learn how to do design and fabrication right on our high school campus. So that's really something that's unique that we've worked on building. And all of those classes are building up towards student certification. So year one, they can get an ag mechanics certification. They're taking it this year. Then they can move into small engine certification, welding certification. So there's a lot of different options there that they can take that piece of paper and go to a job and have validation that they have skills to enter that workforce, maybe above someone else. Then we also have our floriculture pathway, also working on certification as well. These are fine arts credit for UC and CSU. So these are courses that also count towards your college-bound students. It also just offers a creative outlet for a lot of our students to be able to come in and express themselves through floral and different materials. This also is a pathway that offers 2 levels of certification, a Tier 1 certification and a Tier 2 certification. It also runs the floral shop. We have a floral shop on our campus as well. So these are just the 3 pathways that we offer in the agriculture program, and we offer something for everyone. Being involved in the ag classes automatically makes your student a member of FFA, which is the largest youth organization in the United States, which again goes back to helping your students be leaders, great speakers. We have competitions like job interview, prepared public speaking, floral competitions, lots of different things for students to get involved with. And then we also have opportunities on campus for students to get involved with animals, large animals, small animals, and we have a huge greenhouse too. So these are just some of the things that we offer in the ag department. This is like a new clicker thing. Oh, well, see, there you go. It's just, you copy that page too. That's one of my favorite pages. So those are just some of the things that we offer. And if you guys have any questions whatsoever, please never, ever, ever, ever hesitate to find my email on the website. Shoot me an email. I'm very good at getting back to you quite quickly. But as you can see, we've really put together a good product. Our ag department's been pretty strong within the community for generations. Next year is our 50th year in the ag department here at Bret Harte High School. So we have a lot of traditions. And I think the greatest thing about the ag department is every kid is welcome because we all use agriculture. Every kid has a home in the agriculture department. So that's one of the things that I think makes us really stand out. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carrie. Okay, so high school graduation requirements. To graduate from Bret Harte, you need to have a total of 260 credits and pass all those required courses that you need to pass. There are a lot of nuances with that, and people have different transcripts that we go over just to make sure, but you do need 260 credits. Of the 260 credits, you need to have 4 years of English. You have to be in English all 4 years of high school. And you have to have 30 credits of math, which includes algebra and geometry. And starting with class of 2024, Jacob? 2024, you need to have make sure that you have that 3rd year of math to get your diploma. Science, you need 20 credits, so you have to make sure that you have a life science credit and a physical science credit to make sure that you can get your diploma. And you also need 3 years of social studies. You have to have a world history course, a US history course, and government. Physical education, you're supposed to be in physical education all 4 years, but California now has an opt-out program. So for Bret Harte, you need to make sure that you have all those credits that you need, 10 credits for course 1 and 10 credits for course 2, and then you can start opting out based on if you have a signature and talk to the PE teacher about it. You also need to have 10 credits in fine arts, and there's a lot in agriculture. You could do a fine art class in agriculture, or you take at least 1 year of a world language, which is Spanish at Bret Harte. Career technical education, we're gonna go over a lot of the CTE courses that we have available. And you also need 20 credits in non-departmental. Freshmen have a required class called Freshman Requirements, so you have to make sure that you take that, and then you have to have 10 extra. Okay, a little bit about the UC system and the CSU system. There are also a lot of private colleges out there that you can choose from, and all the requirements and recommendations are different, and they're changing all the time. consistently, constantly, sometimes every month. I get another email that something else has changed. So whenever you are looking for colleges, you always need to go to their website and find out what's the newest thing that's going on. If you see something from 21 and think it's real, it may not be, because everything is changing. The UCA to G requirements are right there. Pretty much if you are a Bret Harte High School student, you are qualified to go to the UCA to G if you are getting C's or better in your classes, because our requirements are pretty much mimicking what the UC system wants us to do as well. 2 years of history, we require 3, 4 years of English, 3 years of math, lab science, and on down. They do want 2 years of a world language, has to be the same world language, so they would have to take Spanish 1 and 2 at Bret Harte to qualify. And then a year of fine art, and then some college prep electives, of which we have a lot. So I decided to put this in here because it's kind of just an idea of what it looks like when you start looking for colleges, regardless of how old you are, because you need to know kind of what you're up against and where you think you'd fit. So kids that are in 10th grade, say right now, who have like a 3.5 GPA, they're doing good. And there's a lot of schools right there where they're right in on that average. And then there's some where you have to have like a 4.0. So it's kind of nice to see the differences. I circled the ones that are close by that some of our students tend to go to. And then here's one for the UCs. The statistics for 2021 aren't all that great because COVID. So a lot of the statistics you will find with the UC system and CSU is from 2020 and sometimes 2019. So you can see that the UCs are a little bit higher in GPA. The requirements are a little bit more strict. It's a little more competitive, but still completely doable. Additional college factors, the A to G courses have to be done between the 10th and the 11th grade year. They don't look at your 9th grade year, and they don't look at the first semester 12th grade year either, because your applications are due before the end of your semester for senior year. So all of 10th grade and all of 11th grade are the most important 2 years as far as GPA goes for the UC system, and you can only have a C or higher. Anybody who has a D who wants to go has to make it up. And we can do it in summer school. We've got an online program that they can do. Sometimes you can do it at the college depending on the course. So kids with Ds, I sit down and talk to them and say, okay, you're interested in going to a CSU, so how are we going to make up that D you got in English freshman year? And let's make sure that we make that up. They also are interested in how many classes you're taking over the minimum requirements. Are you taking more than 2 years of this or more than 3 years of that? And down at the bottom it says SATs and ACTs are waived for 2022. Most of the private colleges are waived. Pretty much everybody is waiving the test scores. NCAA has a little bit different idea about testing. So I encourage you guys to take the SAT. I think it's a really good experience to go through the SAT. Just the whole process of doing it, seeing what you know, getting that knowledge base, finding out how knowledgeable you are and what you are lacking in. A lot of schools will give you a placement exam and see how you are and where you fit. Kids that are very competitive on transcripts are academically rigorous all the way through high school. A lot of times those kids aren't kids that will do a partial day or a lot of work experience outside of school because they're in school or they're at Columbia College and they're taking an extra class, maybe something in engineering because they want to be an engineer or something like that. So they're looking as rigorous as they possibly can all the way through high school. Okay, so Berkeley. I mean, do I have to say anything more? I just say Berkeley. About 4 years ago, don't quote me, but about 4 years ago, Berkeley decided that, number one, they were going to maybe start asking for doing some interviews, which never happens. And they were also they do a holistic review, you know, you do your essays and all that kind of stuff. But Berkeley decided that in some of their more competitive programs, that they wanted the people to not just have 4 years, but have an extra year of English. So at Bret Harte, that would be It would either be taking an online class, it's not all the schools, it's just some are getting that way. They're more competitive, and Berkeley's one of them. Some of the kids take community college English, and it's 1A and 1B. 1A is a year, 1B is a year. So there you go with your 5 years if you want to do that way. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, and we'll talk a little bit about Columbia College and how helpful that is. Some kids do take classes over the summer just because they're interested in it, and it's not all the programs on the campuses either, and it's not all of the majors. Engineering, you don't need a 5th year of English. So it's one of those things you look on the website, and if you're going to be a writer or an English major, they probably are going to want an extra year just to look more competitive. So what I was saying earlier, everything is changing. This week, Humboldt became Cal Poly. So now we've got 3 Cal Polys in the state of California. Humboldt historically hasn't been very competitive to get into. It's like 60, 70% to get in. So most people can get in there, but they have decided, they're way up there. They've decided that they wanted to be more competitive. So for the last 2 years, they've been working with the other Cal Polys, trying to get everything they needed, all their ducks in a row. They got a ton of funding from the state. The governor was on board, and they are now officially Cal Poly Humboldt. And those down there, that's down there that I put down there, the bachelor's degree programs, those are the ones that they're going to focus on. So if you're interested in any of those, now you can consider Humboldt. I believe it'll probably take a couple years for that to really kick in. So getting in at Humboldt and getting with a lower sort of a GPA is probably very doable. When you're searching for colleges, regardless of how old you are, there are so many search engines. Some of them make you make accounts, and then you get flooded with emails that make no difference. So I have a couple up here that you guys can use that are solid, they're legit, and they really work, and you don't get flooded with emails. One of them is called Big Future, and that's College Board. Big Future, you put in all of your information, and then you start searching for stuff, and you can actually search, I want to be in the mountains, and I want an all-girls school, and I want a school that has water skiing and all that, and you put all the parameters in, and then it spits out all of the colleges, and not always in the United States, sometimes in Ireland, or weird places and fun places like that. So, and then it banks it for you. So you make your account, and then you keep it, and then it changes. If you decide, now I'm not interested in being in the mountains, I want to be by the beach, then you can cut those colleges out, and it'll spit out some more. And it learns as you learn. Your test scores go in there, because your account is your College Board account. So if you do take the SAT, your test scores will help the search engine to decide if you're a strong enough candidate to go to a specific school. It's pretty cool. US News is another one that's really valuable because, again, it's very legit. US News has a best schools every year, and you can type in 2022 best colleges for agriculture, and then you can see what you can get. So in US News, you can make an account, but you don't have to. You can just go on there and search, or you can make yourself an account. It's a free account. And you can do a lot of comparisons on US News. You can compare how much things are going to cost versus what the majors are, how competitive it is, how many kids go there, all that. Okay, so the PSAT is an extremely important test. And a lot of people, I think, kind of skip over it now because you don't have to take the SAT to get to college. But the PSAT has a lot more to do with other things that have nothing, that you don't even have to put a score in for. So I encourage you to take the PSAT as a 10th grader just to see how you do. Your 11th grade year, I'm going to try to make everybody take the PSAT in the fall of next year if you're a 10th grader, because there is a way to get scholarships, and that's through national merit. So depending on the score that you get on your PSAT, that will tell you if you're high enough to get into national merit, and it's based on where you live and how many people are in your area and how they scored. And then they compare it with you, and then they compare it with the state, and then they compare it with the nation. So there's all these statistics and all this data. If your score is high enough, then you become a commended student. So that's kind of just a slide that tells you it's competitive. You have to be a very good test taker. You have to do well on the test, which is why if you take it as a 10th grader just for practice, when you take it as an 11th grader, you know a little bit more about it. And then it just gives you sort of the statistics. 34,000 people become commended students. So you can put that on a college application. I was a commended student for national merit. And that looks really good. And that puts you one cut above other people who didn't take the test or aren't commended. And then it goes up from there. 16,000 semifinalists. Once you're a semifinalist, you fill out a whole essay, and you have to have letters of recommendation, and it gets really complicated, and it's really awesome. If you're a semifinalist, that's, again, another notch. And then if you become a finalist, then you can start getting scholarships. And then you put that on your application. Schools will look at that scholarship in-house, like if it's Cal State East Bay, and East Bay has a thing for national merit just in their school, they may give you a scholarship over and above what national merit will give you. So it's a good thing. Okay, so course selection. Kids are going to do everything online this year. We're not going to ask for parent permission. It's going to be what we call passive consent. So you will sit down with your kiddos and put in all their course requests, and I'll teach you how to do it. And then if you don't say anything, then you're good. If you see it and it's locked or something and you can't get to it, and I don't want him to take AP US History next year, he needs to be in regular, then you can call us and we'll fix it for you. There's 7 classes that they're gonna register for, and then they're gonna do some alternates for us too. And make sure they do it, because if they don't, we'll end up picking it for them, and it might be whatever's left over. Like you get to take this class even if they don't really want it. So let's make sure that they get exactly what they want. I'm going to pass out one of these. This is called a FourYear Template, and it's a way to put every single one of your classes in. There's apps that you can do this for, and kids are really techie. So the apps are actually really cool, and some of the kids track all of their progress through their apps. I'm also going to give kids a copy of their transcript. Kids should always have a copy of their transcript to see what grades they're getting and what they're looking at, what their GPA is, what their class rank is. All of that is on a transcript, so that's really good to have. And then the 4-year plan template, you can just write everything down of what you want to do for all 4 years. I have about like 5 or 6 slides that are just flowcharts. I'm going to go through these really quickly. Basically, it's just how you get to the classes you get to and what's available. And sometimes there's nothing available. You just have to take English 2. So when you're in 10th grade, that's what you take. But once you get to 11th grade, you can choose. You can take an AP class or you can take regular English. So once you get up into your junior year and you start deciding, do I want to take an advanced course, then things get a little bit more complicated with your course schedule. In 12th grade, there are 2 classes available. Expository Reading and Writing is a California State University course. If you take that course, then that helps you along with your placement if you end up at a CSU. So it's a really good course to take. And then the other one we already talked about, Columbia College. Social Studies, nothing in 9th grade. You get a break in 9th grade. In 10th grade, you have a choice. You can actually take an AP class in 10th grade, and you can take AP European History. We also have a course called AP Human Geography, and that's available for anybody, 9th through 12th grade. So the Social Studies department chair has told me that AP Human Geography is a really good class to take if you are a 9th grader, because it's not quite as rigorous as some of the other ones, but it gives you the idea and the commitment and the dedication that it takes to be in an AP class. And every AP class, you get an extra grade point. So if you get an A, that's 5 points instead of 4, which means you can have over a 4.0 if you have straight A's, and then you have an A in an AP class. It's on the books. Oh, yes. Okay. Thank you. So the question was, is AP Human Geography going to be offered next year? And some of the courses have been flowing up and down. I've seen sort of the statistics about it, and sometimes they're offered and sometimes they're not, and it's all driven by kids. So if there are 25 kids, 30 kids that want to take this class, we're going to put them in there. There's a one at the very bottom, Contemporary Issues in Political Science. That's an elective that some students can take, especially if they're interested in poli-sci and maybe doing that in college. They would take that concurrently with their either government class or their AP Gov class. Math is very complicated. It just is, because it depends on how you do, what your grades are, how you're flowing, what you started with in 8th grade, what you got when you got to 9th grade, how you're moving up, if you're advanced or not. So this is a pretty complicated flow chart. You just have to follow the arrows. We're going to help the kids, and so are the math teachers, are going to help the kids and say, you know, you were so good in this class that you should probably take advanced algebra 2 next year because you got A's and you did really well. So they'll be giving us some recommendations. So you can ask your kids, you know, you got A's in all these classes. Do you want to do trigonometry next year? Or do you want to do honors trig next year and take an advanced class? Science is a little complicated too, but it's kind of cool because you have so many options in science. And Ms. Phillips has already told you that some of those mimic what the Bret Hart School is like. So you can go, and she even said you can have a Bret Hart science class and then have a Bret Hart Ag science class and still be okay. So you can, as long as you have a life science and a physical science, and if you're planning on 4-year, if you just keep going, you take chem, you take physics, that kind of thing, and you stay as rigorous as possible, you're good to go. In foreign language, we have Spanish classes, and you can take an honors Spanish class if you want to, and you can also take an AP Spanish class if you're really good in Spanish. And the teacher's really great, and he helps you along, has good test scores with their AP results. And then music, if you're interested in music, there's all kinds of fun music classes that you can take, beginning and advanced classes. Visual and performing arts includes all the art classes, all the drama classes. It also includes yearbook. Freshman requirements is on there too because it's an elective, but you have to take it. So it's a required elective. And then there's leadership if you're interested in ASB. PE, you have to make sure that you take at least 2 years, and then after that, you can kind of choose if you want to do weight training. In the past, they've had aerobics. We put it back on the list. So maybe some kids will want to take aerobics, and we can offer that as well this year coming up. And then sports management is a different type of a class, but it's PE driven, and you have to have a recommendation from the teacher. So Ms. Phillips talked a little bit about the CTE pathways, or where agriculture is concerned. There are also other CTE pathways, that's career and technical education, and that is a big, long list. So if you're interested in any of those are all in the course request sheet, and I'll show you what one of those looks like, and you can choose which one you want, and you can do some of them for all 4 years. Fire technology has 2 different years, and automotive has 4 different years, so you can go all the way through. At the bottom, I have a note from Mr. Suter, he's the auto teacher, that said that he's working with Columbia College so that he can make the Auto 1 class a dual enrollment class, which means they get credit for college, and they also get credit for high school. And this is just what the CTE pathways kind of look like and which ones you would go to. It's basically the 1 and then the 2 and then the 3 and the 4. So when you're doing the course request, you just pick which number you're at. Okay, so community college. We have 1 class right now, that's the English class, that's known as the CCAP class. CCAP is community college classes that are taught on high school campuses, but you get college credit and you also get high school credit. So we have a high school teacher that teaches the English class, but it's for college and for high school. And that's the English, and that's all we have for the actual CCAP. But that doesn't mean that you can't take other courses. They just aren't part of the CCAP. Whenever you hear that, that's what that means, is it's a dual enrollment with both. And again, you get a weighted credit for your classes. So if you take English and at the end of the semester you have an A, then you're going to have 10 credits instead of 5, where normally you get 5 credits for a class because it's a college class. So they say it's a whole year of English for high school in 1 semester. And then you also get a grade bump, so you'll get a 5.0 instead of a 4, and that increases your GPA. It's good stuff. This is just a slide that tells you can take anything that you want to in the catalog. You don't have to go to Columbia. You don't have to go to Modesto. You can do anything online in the state of California, anywhere you want. And as long as you meet the prerequisites for that class, you're welcome to take any class that you want to. When you're finished with the class, what you're going to do is get an official transcript and give it to Miss Brookshire in the office, and then she makes a decision whether or not it goes on the high school transcript or not. Sometimes she can put it on there, and that's even better. But either way, if you're interested in anything that has to do with community college and we don't offer it here at Bret Harte, we encourage you to take a class. Benefits, everything's free. That's really good. Free classes are great. For the first 2 years of school in community college, which is why a lot of people choose it, you don't have to pay, which is great. You get high school credit and you get college credit. We've talked about that. A lot of the courses don't meet every day. Sometimes they're only 2 to 3 days a week. I've got some kids in physics right now, and physics is online. So you can even do things that are online. And you also learn what it's like to be in a college course. There are some risks, though. So if you take a college class, you have to be very careful with your grade. And you have to also be very careful that you pull and withdraw prior to the deadline so that it doesn't show up on a transcript forever, because it's college. So it's real, it's legit. If you're not going to do well, you need to get out quick. If you end up with, like it says, the D, the F, the W, and it gives you an example of what all of those mean, sometimes that's can be really difficult when you're applying to college. So don't take a class if it's going to be too hard. And you just want to see if it's going to be okay. Make sure that you are ready and that you're able to do it, and you've got the commitment, you've got the time to do the study and all of that, and just be sure. And then make sure also, if you are going to be an athlete, or you're some schools, you have to make sure that if you're going to do like a private school or something, a lot of those schools don't take any community college credits. They just say, well, they're private, they can do anything they want. So they say, we're not going to take those classes, whereas if you went to a UC school, sometimes there's kids from here that are sophomores when they get to college, because they've had so many college classes, they've taken some AP courses and passed the test, and so they skip a whole year of college. Where the private schools are, no, we're not going to do that, you're still going to do all 4 years. That's the Promise application. We'll help anybody who is going to start in college, that's senior year. We help you fill out the Promise application to make sure that you can get in for free and you do everything for free. NCAA is a center, an eligibility center that you go to if you want to be D1 or a D2 athlete. And I have talked to quite a few kids here actually already that are interested in doing that. D1 and D2 are the only two that you need to sign up on the Eligibility Center, and you need to do it at the end of your sophomore year, the beginning of your junior year, so that when the scouts are looking at you, they have a place to go. You have your number, you've got a transcript in there, and all of that. Costs a little bit of money to be on the Eligibility Center, so you don't want to do it unless it's a real deal, and you're thinking you're D1 or D2. There's also a worksheet that you need to fill out, and I can help you do the worksheet. Completely different from an A to G, completely different from a diploma. They have their own deal, and it's kind of complicated. So I have a worksheet that you can fill out to make sure by the end of your junior year you have to have all those classes done. And we talked about standardized test scores. You know how NCAA is a little bit on their own. They do their own thing. They are saying that you don't have to take the SAT or the ACT for initial eligibility, and that's just for 2022 and 23. We don't know what's going to happen after that. So that would be a situation where you might want to take the SAT just in case. And here's the basic requirements. You have to have a diploma. You have to make sure you do all of the courses and meet the minimum core requirements that they're asking for, and if they make you do the SAT or the ACT, it comes up with a certain score. And your GPA, if your GPA is higher, the SAT score can be lower, and it's kind of a bar that they set. And I have a phone number there for you to call that's actually cut off. So if you want to get the public phone number, just send me an email. So this program is fantastic. This is on February 16th, and it's at 6 p.m. This is an organization, it's an investment firm, actually. They're a consulting firm that help people, with their retirement and with their investments and all of that kind of thing. But what they do is they go into high schools and they present how to get your kiddo to college, whichever college you want to go to, regardless of if it's private or public or what. And they don't charge any money at all. They will tell you during the presentation, they'll tell you why they don't charge any money and why they're free. I personally had an experience with them, and that's why I carry them everywhere with me, and I tell everybody about them. I'm like their biggest fan. Because I had a kiddo in high school, and sophomore year, she's, good grades and everything. She wants to go to private schools, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm an educator, do the math on, the salary and all of that. How am I going to do it? I was a single parent, and I met this guy, and he actually helped me get her to an Ivy League school, and she's debt-free. So that is and that's actually true, and it really happened, and it happened to me. So he's so good that I just want everybody to know about him. And whether you use him and talk to him, obviously that's up to you. But what they do is they get your information. It's a little invasive in the beginning, and you're just like, okay, you're gonna learn about me, but it's private. And then they send you a big packet of 60 pages maybe, or 70 pages of all of the colleges based on what your GPA is, based on where you want to go, based on your income and all your, whatever your financial situation is, down to what they call an EFC, an expected family contribution of $5,000. So he will show you which schools you can go to and only pay $5,000. Where we were talking about Berkeley, you want to go Berkeley, it's like $35,000. So now you're thinking, wait, I can go to a private school and it's cheaper than if I go to a UC? Are you kidding me? Because nobody ever knew that before. And so now I don't know, I'm singing their praises. It's a Zoom meeting. It's on the 16th, so you just register, log in, and just listen to them, while you're eating dinner or whatever. Good deal, good deal. Now, as far as communication, I'm new, so I'm trying to get the word out that I'm here and everybody can come see me and make appointments and all that kind of stuff, and I just want to be available for everyone and all their questions. So I decided that I would make a Google Classroom for every class of. And then I went around and told all of the kids to sign up. And half of them did it, and half of them were like, didn't. So it's a process. But I want the parents to sign up too. There's been a glitch with the parents. So I can do an invitation for parents, but you have to have a Google account. If you're from another domain, then the school district doesn't allow it because they have all these security measures in place, which makes sense. So if you did get an invitation from me and you have a Google account and it's in your Infinite Campus, because that's what the email would be, then that's what you're signing up for. You're accepting an invitation to the classroom. And on the classroom is every single thing you would ever want to know. This presentation will be on there. Course requests are on there. Scholarships are on there. There's things that are just for the class of 22 because they're graduating. There's things for just freshmen for the summer and all that kind of stuff. So you really want to get on there. And then it also teaches the kids to check their email, see what's going on. And then I also will try to send things through Infinite Campus, even if it's like a test thing that just says, hey, check your email, so that you can stay aware and stay up with what's happening. Okay, so course registration. This is what we've already talked to the juniors, and we talked to the sophomores today, and this is what we showed them. So it's exactly what they saw. So what they're going to do is they're going to go into Infinite Campus, and they're going to click where it says right there, course registration. We opened the portal today, so you could go today and sign up. If you haven't heard the presentation, you may not want to because you don't know all of the factors quite yet, but you can go around and play around with it if you want to. So the first thing you do is you press course registration, and then you click on select enrollment and make sure that it's 22-23 and not 21-22. And then you start entering your courses. It says add course. It's very simple. You click the blue button and you add the course. There's a little plus sign that you can go to that will tell you what the course is all about. But we also have the course catalog. That's on my classroom. If you want to look at the course catalog and see what all the courses are for next year, you can read through all of them. And as you put them in, on the right-hand side, it's going to start showing you how you're doing and which ones you've already put in as requests. There's a thing on the right side that says units, and that doesn't pertain to our particular school, so disregard that. And then the red line is just going to start going across as you start entering the courses. right there where it says like AP Chemistry on the left where there's a little blue button, you just click the button if you want to know what the course is all about. And then as you go through and search for the desired course, you're going to click it. And then down at the bottom, the very bottom of the second box right there, it says add request or alternate. We're asking the kids to do all of the courses and then also give us 3 alternates, just in case. And when you're all done, that's what it looks like. And you can print it out if you want to, or take a screenshot of it, or whatever if you're doing it on your phone. And then you'll have a copy. Here's some important dates coming up. I already talked about what's happening on the 16th of this month. That's not on there. So what they're doing is going through all their course requests, and then the 18th, we're going to lock it down and say, nope, you can't do it anymore, so the 18th is your deadline. After the deadline, then all the administrators, we're going to talk to every single student in person. So every kid is going to get a chance to talk to us about what they want to do next year, what they want their courses to be. We're going to look at their courses and make sure that they've got everything they need, and they don't have like 2 histories, and they haven't made a mistake. And then we'll go from there. And then at that point, if parents want to get involved and have a conversation with us, they can do that too. February 20th, I'm hosting a college night that is just everything college for juniors only. And that's for kids so that all the way through the summer, they're going to know how to gear up to get ready for college applications and what they need to do ahead of time before August hits. And then we've got 8th grades coming up, March 16th, if you've got any 8th graders. And then there's also a career exploration fair on April 25th. Okay, so I will take a couple questions. I know I have a watch, so I don't know exactly how long it is, but if you want to ask me some questions now, you can, or we can meet privately at any point, or yeah. So if you have any questions? In lobby? Okay. Okay, so yes, thank you very much for coming, and we are going to put this on, it's on YouTube, I think, so it's going to be a link that you can show to everybody and all your friends who couldn't come, and if you're Zooming tonight or live streaming or whatever, thank you for coming.